When you're 27, drinking coffee on your balcony at 7 in the morning in boxers and an old t-shirt that says, "I'm not arguing. I'm explaining why I'm right." The last thing you expect is to see a half-naked goddess hanging from the window of the neighboring apartment. Alex nearly choked on his Americano when he saw her. Long dark hair cascaded over the window frame, and a silky ivory-colored nightgown barely covered her hips, revealing long sculpted legs. She was half hanging out of her bathroom window trying to reach the fire escape. And with every movement, Alex's heart skipped a beat. "Okay, this isn't what it looks like," she shouted, noticing his captivated face. Alex put down his cup, trying to focus on her words and not on how the gown hugged her curves with every motion. "Then what does it look like?" He raised an eyebrow, not hiding a smile. "Because from my angle it looks like an attempted escape from your own bathroom." "That's exactly what it is." She tried to turn back, but something was in her way. The lock broke, and oh God, this is so embarrassing. Alex set his mug aside and moved closer to the edge of the balcony. Now he could make out her face, high cheekbones, full lips that she was biting in embarrassment, and large sparkling green eyes. Embarrassing? He theatrically put a hand to his heart. "A beautiful woman appears in my life like something out of a movie, and you're talking about embarrassment. I'm already wondering what I did to deserve such a gift from fate." Even from that distance, he could see her blush. "Very funny. Can you help?" Instead of flirting with a woman in a nightgown. "It's not a nightgown," Alex corrected, enjoying the game. "It's a nightgown. A very beautiful one, by the way. Silk." "Alex," she protested, but a note of laughter slipped into her voice. "How do you know my name? I saw the mailman yelling it when you didn't answer the door yesterday. And yes, it's Silk, but that's not the point." Alex laughed genuinely from the heart. This girl was incredible. All right. I'm Alex Morrison, your incredibly handsome neighbor and emergency rescuer. And you? Elena Rodriguez, your clumsy neighbor stuck in her own bathroom." "Elena." He rolled the name on his tongue as if savoring an expensive wine. A beautiful name for a beautiful woman in a beautiful nightgown, causing a beautiful commotion on my peaceful Saturday. "Are you always this charming, smart, humble, insufferable?" Elena finished, but he could hear the smile in her voice. Alex was already planning his heroic rescue. "All right, here's the plan," Alex said, rearranging furniture on his balcony and estimating the distance. "I'll throw you a rope and you'll tie it around." He trailed off as he realized where on her body the rope would have to go. "Around what?" Elena raised an eyebrow and Alex saw an ironic smirk. "Well," he scratched the back of his neck. "Around your waist, under your chest?" It's a complicated question from a technical standpoint. "Oh God." Elena covered her face with her hands. "I can't believe we're discussing the anatomy of my rope harness with a man I've known for 5 minutes. Technically, 7 minutes, Alex corrected. And I'm an engineer, so I have to consider all the physical parameters for a safe rescue." "An engineer?" Elena's voice perked up. "What kind?" "Aerospace. I design planes." Alex secured the rope to the balcony railing, not trying to look at how the wind lifted the hem of her gown. "And what do you do besides getting stuck in bathrooms?" "I'm an architect." She tried to shift her position, and Alex involuntarily held his breath, watching her body move. "I design houses that are apparently better than the one I live in." "An architect and an engineer." Alex threw her the end of the rope. "We were made for each other. You design, I make it fly." "Houses don't fly, Alex." "Mine do." He winked. "Catch." Elena caught the rope, and Alex couldn't help but notice how gracefully she moved, despite her awkward position. Every muscle in her arms tensed as she began to tie the rope around her waist. And Alex tried to think about anything other than what her hands would feel like on his skin. "Ready?" She looked at him. "Now what?" "Now I'll help you climb over here." Alex gripped the rope firmly. But first, he paused for dramatic effect. "What?" "I have to say, this is the most beautiful emergency situation of my life." Elena laughed, a musical, genuine sound. "You're unbelievable." "All right, pull, Superman." Alex began to pull carefully, supporting her as Elena climbed from her windowsill to his balcony railing. When their hands touched, he felt an electric spark run from his fingertips all the way to his heart. "Almost there," he whispered, helping her step onto the balcony. And then Elena slipped. Alex managed to catch her, and they both fell onto a rotten chair. Elena landing on his lap, her face just inches from his. Time stood still. Alex felt the warmth of her body through the thin fabric of her gown, the scent of her perfume, a mix of jasmine and vanilla, and the way her chest rose and fell with her rapid breathing. Elena looked into his eyes, her lips parted in surprise. "This is not what it looks like," Alex finished, repeating her earlier words, but his voice was, "No." She took her time getting off his lap. "It looks exactly like it." Her hand was resting on his chest, and Alex was sure she could feel how wildly his heart was beating. The sunlight played in her hair, creating golden highlights, and her green eyes twinkled with the closeness. "Elena," he whispered her name like a prayer. "Yes, I think your lock broke on purpose." She laughed, and the sound filled all the empty spaces in his chest. "Maybe, though I'm not sure my ego can handle the thought that I needed rescuing." "And who said you're the one who needed rescuing?" Alex gently touched a strand of her hair. "Maybe I'm the one who's stuck." "Stuck in what?" In this moment, his gaze shifted between her eyes and her lips, and the way you look in the morning sun, and the way your voice sounds when you laugh. Elena slowly traced a finger along his jawline. "Alex Morrison, you're a dangerous man." "Why?" "Because you make me forget that I'm a rational, independent woman who doesn't believe in fairy tales." "What do you believe in?" She leaned in closer and their lips barely touched. "Chemistry," she whispered. "Physics. The idea that some things just work." Alex deepened the kiss, feeling Elena relax in his arms. Her lips were soft, warm, tasting of morning coffee and something uniquely her own. When they finally broke apart, they were both breathing heavily. This Elena touched his lips with her fingertips. "Works." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Too well." Suddenly, the sound of her front door opening and a woman's voice came from her apartment. "Elena, where are you?" "I brought croissants and stories about my terrible date." Elena froze in horror. "That's Mia, my sister. She has a key." She quickly stood up from his lap. "She can't see me here." "Why?" Alex stood up, pulling her close by the waist. Elena's cheeks reddened. "She'll say I finally stopped being a bore and found a real man, and that's a bad thing." Elena looked at him, her eyes sparkling. "No," she smiled. "But I want a little more time before I share you with the rest of the world." "Elena." Mia's voice grew closer to the bathroom. "Why won't the door open? The handle just spins." Elena looked around in a panic. She had seconds. "Oh no," she whispered. The handle finally broke. "This has been a problem for a week." The door was sticking, and today the handle broke completely off. "This way," Alex whispered. They crept into his living room, a spacious area with high ceilings, a cinematic sound system, and a guitar in the corner. Elena looked around, and Alex suddenly saw his apartment through her eyes. Masculine yet stylish, with good taste in art and books. "Nice." She walked through the room, touching the spines of the books. Hemingway, Vonnegut, technical journals, and poetry. Alex blushed. Neruda in Spanish. He came closer, standing behind her at the bookshelf. "I like for you to be still as if you were absent." Elena finished the quote, turning to him. "You read Neruda in Spanish. Poetry sounds better in its original language." Alex put his hands on her waist like your name. From the next apartment, a knock came from the bathroom door. "Elena, what's going on in there?" "The door is locked." Elena leaned into Alex, and he could feel her trembling from nerves or from his closeness. "She's going to break down the door," Elena whispered. "Now we have two options. I can distract Mia while you sneak back." Or what?" Elena asked, surprised. "Or we can pretend this is a normal Saturday where neighbors get to know each other over coffee." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Over coffee? I don't have any clothes, Alex. I have a t-shirt and pants." He paused, though honestly I like the current look. She playfully hit his chest. "You're impossible. I'm honest." Alex leaned in and kissed her on the temple. "Elena Rodriguez, You were the most beautiful emergency situation of my life. He tossed her a pair of his sweatpants and a t-shirt. Elena changed quickly, although his clothes were too big for her. The pants had to be rolled up, and the t-shirt hung on her like a dress. "How do I look?" she asked. "Like a woman I want to kiss again," Alex said, grabbing a small toolkit. "But for now, you look like a neighbor who asked for help with a sticky lock." From the next apartment, Mia's frustrated voice came again. "Elena, where are you? The door won't open. Let's go." Alex took her hand. A minute later, they were standing by Elena's door and Alex knocked. "Mia," Elena shouted. "It's me. I went to get help from a neighbor." The door swung open and Mia appeared. A brunette with curly hair and expressive eyes similar to Elena's. "Where were you and who is this?" Mia eyed Alex up and down with undisguised curiosity. "This is Alex, my neighbor," Elena pointed at him. "The bathroom door handle finally broke and I had to get help." Alex stepped forward with the tools in his hands. "Alex Morrison." He extended his hand to Mia, engineer and rescuer of girls who break bathroom door handles. Mia shook his hand, studying both of them with a suspicious look. "Mia Rodriguez, sister and detective of suspicious acquaintances." Though I have to admit, this is the first story Elena has about asking a neighbor for help. She usually just calls a locksmith. "A locksmith doesn't work this early on a Saturday," Elena replied quickly. Alex headed to the bathroom, examining the broken handle. "The mechanism is really stuck," he said, turning the handle. "I'll need to remove the whole system and put in a new one." While Alex worked with the tools, Mia made coffee and set out the croissants. "You know, Alex, my sister rarely asks for help, especially from a stranger." "Mia." Elena shot her a warning look. "What? I'm just saying you're usually independent to a fault." Alex smiled without stopping his work. Maybe she just needed the right motivation to ask for help. When the door finally opened, Mia clapped her hands. "Hero." She turned to Elena. "I'm making him breakfast. It's the least we can do for our rescuer." Elena looked at Alex. Their eyes met and that same spark ran between them again. "I think that's a great idea," Elena said, not taking her eyes off Alex. Alex looked at Elena and he asked if she would like to go for a walk in the park tonight and then sit together in a cozy cafe. She held her breath for a moment. Her smile grew a little wider, and a warm glow appeared in her eyes, as if she had been waiting for those very words. Her fingers lightly slid along the edge of the cup she was holding, but her gaze remained calm and confident, fixed on him. "I think that's a wonderful idea," Elena said, her voice soft and honest, as if in response to something more than just an invitation. At that moment, Mia's voice sounded. With her hands on her hips, she cheerfully raised her eyebrows and called out, "Hey, lovebirds, stop cooing over there. Breakfast is ready. Let's go to the table before I eat everything myself." Alex and Elena laughed at the same time. Later, after Mia had left and they were alone on his balcony with cups of coffee, Elena asked, "Do you really believe the lock breaking wasn't an accident?" Alex smiled, wrapping his arms around her waist. "You know what? It doesn't matter. What matters is that you were brave enough to climb out a window and you were kind enough to help a stranger." They watched the morning city and Alex thought, how many people pass by their destiny because they're afraid to take a step toward the unknown? "Elena, yes. What if you hadn't gotten stuck today? Would we have met?" She thought for a moment, leaning against his shoulder. Maybe we would have passed each other in the hallway for years, saying hello and thinking, what if Alex kissed her on the temple? Then I'm grateful for every single sticky lock in the world. Sometimes the best stories don't start with big plans or perfect circumstances. Sometimes they begin with a malfunction, a mishap, a moment when you're forced to trust a stranger. And who knows, maybe your destiny is also waiting for you behind the next broken lock, awkward moment, or on a neighbor's balcony with a cup of morning coffee.